we look at how people express their grief, let's look at the types of grief, that we have. There are 3 main types of grief, and then there's another one, additional one that I'll talk about. But the 3 main types of grief is the normal grief, right? So normal grief is what everybody will go through. There's no way we will not react when we lose a loved one. I know that will not be normal, right? There is a psychiatric condition we call the blunt affect, and then the labor affect, etc., where people sometimes do not show any reaction when they hear a bad news, or sometimes instead of them to cry, they will start laughing. That is an extreme case. The person have to be sent to Pantine for treatment. But normally we will all grieve, right? So sometimes you will see some guys when they have broken hearts, they will go into the room, and then they will cry in the room, and their parents will ask them. I know Michael will connect, right? So their parents will ask them, and then they will tell their parents, they will lie to their parents, right? And sometimes they will not even want to eat. When their parents enters the room, they will pretend they are fine, but when they go, they will start crying, right? So it's what I'm saying is that it's a normal process, right? It's not something that is strange, and it's not when you grieve, it doesn't mean that you are weak, right? It's normal to grieve. Okay, so the normal grief is the normal reaction to the loss of the loss of a loved one. So most of the time, some people will cry when they hear the news. Sometimes some people become angry. Sometimes there are several reactions of people towards the loss of a loved one. But most of the time, the person gradually should. Sometimes some people deny initially, but the person gradually should accept the situation, right, and move on, right? So that is the normal grieving, and it might take a day, 2 days, or even more. If it's not managed well, then it can even go up to a year. The next grief is anticipatory grief. Anticipatory grief. Sometimes it's so it will be so painful when you know that you are going to die, and then you can't do anything about. Probably somebody who have gone for ritual money, and then they've told the person that he or she has probably a month to live, and then you know that definitely you are going to die, but there's nothing that you can do about it. So such people sometimes will look at all the wealth they've acquired, and then sometimes they will grieve towards that anticipating death, right? And then people who have terminally ill conditions like cancer, HIV, sometimes will also grieve towards the anticipating death, because sometimes even during the hospice care, the doctor might have told them that they can't survive for long, right? So we are just managing the signs and symptoms. So sometimes they grieve, right? Especially if they are having children and some uncompleted business which they want to continue. So sometimes they wish God has given them more time so that they can finish what they have not been able to complete, right? The other type of grief is known as disenfranchised grief. Disenfranchised grief. So this enfranchised grief occurs when the loss is experienced and cannot be acknowledged openly.